My competition is Mr. Beast. It's really sucked a bit of life out of the platform. I always hear him saying, I want to make the best videos. And is he making the best videos?
That's Damien Jordan, the UK's #1 finance content creator. In this episode, Damien reveals why YouTube is easier than you think.
I, like many people in the UK, was probably living a life of quiet desperation. I had a high-paying job, but I felt very unsatisfied.
How to go viral from day one.
GameStop happened, and I was just there at that time. One video, I got like 400,000 or 500,000 views. Changed my life.
The strategy that took him from 1K to 200,000 subscribers.
I got to 50,000 subscribers on an iPhone. The best way to start the channel would be to look for long tail keywords. My video was top across the whole world.
Oh my God.
That's when it went mental.
And loads more.
You could offer me 100 million quid to promote something, I wouldn't do it. That thing of like, Damien was great, but then he sold out.
If you've ever considered becoming a content creator, this is the blueprint. I really hope you enjoy it. Please subscribe if you do, and let's dive in. Damien, thanks so much for doing this.
It's my pleasure.
So you've got 160K
About that, yeah.
on YouTube.
Yeah,
You're getting about 1 million views a month.
Yep.
You're one of the most trusted voices in the personal finance space. And I'd love to use this podcast as a bit of a masterclass maybe for people who feel like they have knowledge and expertise that they could share on the internet, but they don't know where to start. Or they might already be along that process and they're looking to take it to the next level, because you are absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be cool to start with, like, where were you before this? What were you doing?
So I, like many people in the UK, was probably living, like they say, a life of quiet desperation. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, I was working in finance and I had a high-paying job, but I felt very unsatisfied with that role. And I was always looking for something that could be my own, but was struggling. I think I was trying to like reinvent the wheel, like invent Facebook or something. But I worked in finance. I'd done an economics degree. I'd been in that space for 10 years. But personal finance is very different to commercial finance. You know, most people who work in commercial finance might not understand personal sides. You know, they might work as an accountant for a business. That doesn't mean they know about ISAs. So I'd also been through my own personal finance journey. And I was just like, in my group of mates, I was the mate that was like, you need to do this, you need to do that. So that was me prior to YouTube.
Yeah. And when was the first time you made a video and uploaded it?
So first lockdown, which was like May 2020 time, I consumed a lot of personal finance content, mainly the American lads. Andre Jick and Graham Stephan, and I always thought the UK was missing. Like I thought, oh, this is one area of YouTube that hasn't been YouTubed, like the UK personal finance scene. I went on furlough for 4 weeks and I played Skyrim. Do you know Skyrim? The game? I blasted that for 2 weeks, and I was like, I've got to do something here. Yeah. So I just made one video and posted it, and yeah, changed my life.
What happened? What was the video about?
It was about like ISAs, the basics of ISAs. And then I made another one, which was investing for beginners, and that got like 400,000 or 500,000 views. Shit. I think, yeah. Like then it was like, oh God, because there's this thing with like, so what you go into YouTube with a bit of naivety in terms of, oh, how hard can it be to make a video? It's actually really hard, because if you look at Hollywood, people specialize. There's guys that are masters of just lighting, so you needed to be like an all rounder in all these things, and you learn very quickly. Oh my God, it's hard to make this good. Most people go through this trend of they get good over time and no one watches. So it's like training for a martial art. You go every week and no one's watching, so it's fine. The second time I ever trained in martial arts, like 500,000 people showed up. Yeah. And that was just like, oh crap.
So why, that is mind blowing to me. So you uploaded a video, you uploaded the first 2 videos again, 500,000 views.
Yeah, the first one did, yeah. The second one, sorry.
What's the level of thought you put into them? Was it literally just you, like a one take, or did you script it?
No, a lot of thought. So
how did you choose the video idea? Yeah. Like what was the...
So a lot of thought went in beforehand. Like I probably do myself, I make it sound easy, but I used to, so I worked in finance, and then what I was doing part-time was I used to deliver Chinese takeaways at a weekend. I'm just that kind of guy that I like to work 7 days a week. Yeah. So I would drive around with the Chinese takeaway, and that would give my head like time to just think, and I would just plot YouTube, and I'd listen to like all of the how to do YouTube for people. And I identified that the best way to start the channel would be to look for long tail keywords that were underserved.
Yeah.
So I targeted Investing for Beginners UK 2020, which was, Investing for Beginners was so competitive, but UK 2020 just niched it down enough to mean that I was like right there. I looked at the search rankings and I thought, if watch time matters, I'll just make a video that's longer than everyone else's. And then I made it relatable in terms of like story and explanation. So I think people still stumble across that video now and go, this is an amazing video, even though it's filmed on an iPhone with a piece of blue paper behind me in my loft. It was like, you know, if I made that video now, I wouldn't release it, but actually it still gets views to this day. So yeah, there was a lot of strategy, 6 months of planning and learning and that like long tail keywords. Over time, the video went from ranking for Investing for Beginners UK 2020 to ranking for Investing for Beginners. So at one point, it was Investing for Beginners on the whole of Google. My video was top.
Oh my God.
Across the whole world. And that's when it went mental.
So, and what tools do you use to work that stuff out?
vidIQ and TubeBuddy at the time. Yeah. So I was, you know, like they're scraping data from the back end and giving it an interpretation. So as a new creator, I would use both. If you get in a high keyword score on both, you can be pretty certain that there's a banger in there. But as a creator, all you really need to do is go, how do I niche this down to a target audience that's relevant, you know, and what are people searching for? So go on to an incognito browser, put in Investing for Beginners and see what the searches are. And I saw like UK was in there and I was like, I put 2020 to add relevance because people seem to think like new information is better, right? I just change the date on that video every year.
Yeah.
It's like 2024 now.
So you basically identify that like that topic that's underserved, and then did you script out that first video?
Yeah.
How did you do that? How did you think about that?
I just get the same process I've got now, blank Google Doc, just a blank Google Doc, and I go. One of my like unfair advantages, if you will, is probably my ability to script in terms of like visualizing it and inserting humor, and those elements were there, and I've refined them over time. But yeah, that's probably one area that I'm like, I would point to I'm better at than some others.
And what type of stuff do you do in that script? Are you purposefully like holding information back to the end? Are you doing any of that? Or are you just purely focused on delivering value?
Yeah. I just think like deliver the value and people will stick around. And, you know, the benefit of finance content or educational content is that it has embedded story in the sense that it transforms someone over the course of the video. So, you know, you take them from 0 to 1, and that's a really rewarding story arc anyway, as it is. You can insert additional story on top of that, but there's no need to gatekeep and be like, oh, if you stick around to the end, I'll give you my top tip. I hate that stuff. I don't even say my name. You know, I'm just like, hi, let's go. You know, no names, nothing, no asking for likes, no asking for subscribers, just pure value up front. And I think people will stick around then.
That's mad. What's your reaction when you see those numbers, like 500K first video? Do you think, holy shit, what have I done?
Yeah, like it was very enjoyable back then, you know, because it was like, oh, this could be the thing. Nowadays, it's like you become desensitized like anything, and you need those numbers to justify the business. So like I need that. There's an added level of pressure. There was no expectation back then. I was signed up for the fact that this is going to take a year before I get a single view, and then boom, off we go.
What's the journey from those first couple of videos? Do you then go weekly uploading, or do you just kind of upload randomly? And at what point do you think this could be like a full-time gig?
I've never had a cadence. I've never had an upload schedule. I think personally, like, can you name a single person's upload schedule? Well, you work in this industry, but I just go on my homepage, and if someone's there, I click it. I'm not thinking, oh, it's Wednesday at 8. They've not uploaded. What's going on? I know some people will be like that, but me personally, no. So I just, you know, make the video, release the video. In terms of when I thought it could be a business, so what's important here is like timing. GameStop happened at the same time. Like I was very lucky in terms of timing. I think that I need to be clear on that. I had strategy, but then that met luck. GameStop happened, which was this, for people who don't know, was this like massive event in the finance space that brought more people to invest in than anything ever. It literally shut down brokers. They couldn't handle the traffic. And I was just there at that time. I earned more money when I had like 8,000 subscribers than I did when I had 60,000 because of this mass influx of people. And then I took it more seriously, and actually there was a huge dip in the middle of like earnings and views and all these things. Like the day I quit my job, Putin invaded Ukraine and ad rates went from like £15 to £2. So imagine someone cutting your wage by a seventh, you know. So actually it started very well. It got ropey in the middle and it's back to doing great again.
It's really interesting. At what level though of like earnings do you feel confident to go in on it full time? Do you wait until it kind of replaces your job, or do you just think I'm really enjoying this, I want to do more of it?
Yeah. For me, I was really scared to quit my job because I had a good job, you know, and when you reach a senior position in sales, you kind of it gets quite cushy. You were like an account manager and you've got all the best clients, and it's almost like passive income in a way. So I waited until it was replaced my job, but I should have gone sooner really. But yeah, it took me 2 years to make the leap. But the year after, my channel trebled in size, so I should have gone sooner.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think one of the other big things with you, and it's interesting you just mentioned your job, is it's not just the information that you're giving, it's like your personality.
Yeah.
And I think I've heard you talk about how you actually think of what you do as just being you're like a good communicator.
Yeah.
Do you think that's quite a big factor in your success?
Yeah, because the information is the information. And, you know, like Andrew Kirby talks about like synthesizing, right? And this thing of, we now live in a world of abundant, infinite information. So actually people are looking for people to say, this is the important information. This is what you need to know, rather than this sea of infinite crap. You know, like how can we condense that down? In ChatGPT in a way is like that. It's like, it just boils it down to the simplest form. So you need that element of communication. And I just think people just kind of need to resonate with you as an individual. And that's hard for me to quantify and say to someone. Like some people just kind of go, oh, I like the way he says these things. But I spend a lot of time and effort on the presentation, on the scripting, on the delivery. You know, I try and make it different and fun where I can, so that it's like beyond just a fact dump.
Yeah, I think you've said to me in the past that you see the competition as like Netflix and the misses.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because we're in the attention game, and I think it's naive for me to say that the only competition I have are other people making finance videos. When I say the misses, I mean like, you know, I got to compete with her, or most of my audience are male, but it works both ways, boyfriend as well. I've got to compete with them for the attention of the audience. So I best be delivering products that are as attractive as the partner, you know, in that sense. And I think most people don't see it like that. They think my only competition are the people making content like me. My competition is Mr. Beast. It's Netflix. It's the latest Marvel movie, whatever can take your time in that moment.
Yeah. Let's talk about your process then. So like, how do you come up with those ideas and then like validate that they're good and then make them as interesting as possible?
I think if it's your job to make up videos, you get pretty good at thinking of ideas to make up videos. Otherwise you haven't got a job. And I think it's like saying to a comedian, how do you think of jokes? It's like, I test, I iterate, and over time it becomes gut feeling. I can see a news story or something emerging. I'm like, that's a banger. Jump on that straight away. And more and more over time, I'm right than I am wrong. But I also think that if you don't go through clickbait and you don't work on being sensational and you deliver information that's grounded in solid research and you use like academic resources and things like this to back that up, over time people will trust you and just click anyway that you've got something interesting to say. There's certain creators that you just will watch whatever they say because you know that it's like they're telling you what to. It's like you're not. Do you know what I mean? And now I think I'm at a point where I can basically make a video on a topic, and as long as I followed my own process of research and delivery, the audience will tune in to be like, "What's he got to say about this?" That's a real privilege, but that's built over time, and that's the trust, and that's instead of chasing quick wins through clickbait and sensationalism and pretending the world's going to burn.
Yeah. I think we've talked about this before. It's like, it's very easy to get lost in YouTube, and a lot of what goes on in YouTube is people see someone's done something that's done well, so they're going to do it, and it becomes very unoriginal and very clickbaity, and you're just looking for topics that have done well for other people, and like you actually lose that core connection with your audience because they see through it as well.
How much of YouTube actually feels original anymore or different? I'm not Scorsese, right? I'm not like out here making epics. I'm just saying that I just want people to go, oh, that's different to any other finance video on the platform that I've watched. Not all my content's like that, because there's certain like reaction stuff I just need to put out. And that's just me saying, here's the news, here's what I think. But the things that I spend more time on, the evergreen stuff that really supports the channel, that's like, challenge yourself as a creator to be like, how can I make this different? How can I create? Like, not just like, how can I earn loads of money for my audience by systemizing this and running it through ChatGPT and copying someone else, because it just feels vapid and stale. People love it when they stumble across a video where they're like, that was good, you know, and that's what I aspire for.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about your process though, because you, at the moment, you're doing like what, 8 videos a month, and
6 to 8, yeah.
6 to 8. And how do you think about a couple of them as being reactive and a couple of them being evergreen? Like, what's the breakdown there, and like what's the thinking behind
You can't
that?
overplan, because if you overplan, you miss the ability to jump on trends. So you need some wiggle room. You need the ability in your schedule to go, the desk's clear, this is what I'm going on. So if I can make 4 evergreen videos a month, there's like a predictability there in terms of I can put an editor on those. So I've recently taken on an editor. It was just me. The editor can edit for evergreen. I'll know that an evergreen video will generate at least £1,000 in ad revenue, at least. And that's the cost of the edit. Plus I get my other incomes. I could put a sponsor on it. So I know that there's like it's very easy for me to say like that will pay off. Those I can plan in advance, and those to me are the ones that I want to push creatively and I want to do things. But yeah, there then has to be that flexibility in the schedule to react, because that's how you grow real quick. You know, like you react to a piece of news first and you get thousands of subscribers quickly.
Is that how you've grown the channel? Are those the biggest spikes, those kind of reactive stuff? Or
they're like quick wins on the day, but the biggest ones are the evergreen. So like that investing for beginners videos, 20,000 subscribers, on 500,000 views. What you'll find is that every video now will get me about 1,000 subscribers on average. And I probably do at the minute about 400 subscribers a day, 500 a day. But you'll find that there's outliers that really like drive it. You can just never guess when they're coming. So you just got to keep showing up and making the content. And sometimes the thing that will be your like labor of love that you've put everything into and that you've spent like 2 weeks on, you put it out and it flops. And then you react to like someone farting basically, and the whole world goes crazy about it. And you're like, what the hell? Do you know what I mean? Like a nothing news story, and like 250,000 people watch it in a day.
It's mad.
Yeah, but that's the business. You can't control the views. You can only control your output. And that's what I would say people should focus on. Just putting out the best quality they can and thinking about it in terms of, like I see a lot of creators on the hamster wheel where if they stop making content, their channel dies instantly. I can sit here today with you because I've got a stable of 100 evergreen videos that will produce 1,000+ views an hour, 24/7. And that's the business. That's what I've built that's actually a business, you know?
Yeah, it's really impressive. You're just like, yeah, that information is useful week after week, month after month.
That's the benefit of the education stuff, right? Because most stuff is universal truths, and, you know, whatever like you're into, finance or coding, I don't know, like music production, say, you got the basics of the basics. And if you can be the person that people associate with those basics, you've got a really good career there. Whereas if you're just reacting to news, you're gonna, as soon as you get off that wheel, it all comes right back down to earth.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the kind of revenue breakdown. Where are you earning money from? Is most of it from Google AdSense from YouTube, or?
It's probably about 10%, 10 to 15%. I do most of my income through affiliates, which is like just people signing up for services. I don't even mention them, really. I might do a throwaway like, oh, by the way, I keep a list of my favorite brokers below. And they're only brokers that I use, but some have affiliates, some don't. Vanguard doesn't, for example, but they're in the description of every video. And that's one of my major sources. And then I do the odd bit of sponsorship, but sponsorship does me head in, to be honest, a lot of the time. I probably get no sponsors now after that. But if I make 8 videos, I'll do 2 sponsors a month. I could like ram it on everyone, but I just, as the creative in me is like, it ruins the flow of the content, you know? And then I do other bits on the side, like business to business work and things like that, which I'm looking to scale. I've got a newsletter that's like makes a bit of money. So yeah, the fingers in lots of pies, but they're very, very traditional in terms of the creator earning pie.
What's the biggest one of those?
Affiliate. But there's multiple affiliate partners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that like one-off affiliate, or do you get like monthly recurring?
No, just one-off.
One-off affiliates.
Yeah. I like it because I get to say whatever I want about whoever I want. I will never be sponsored by a broker because I think it generates a conflict of interest. You know, then they can change the wording of what I say. Through the affiliate, they can't control what I say. But, you know, everyone benefits. I get something and so does the person signing up for the affiliate. They get like a free share or whatever. So, you know, it's like a kind of a win-win.
Yeah. And I think it's such an interesting space, the personal finance one, because it's very easy to find a lot of like bad actors in it, or people who maybe started out with the best intentions, but they get corrupted, or they, you know, the offer just gets too big to turn down.
Yeah, FTX.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that and think about that? Because that's one of the things about you. Like when I watch your content, I just totally trust you. I feel like you're not invested, or there's no kind of like, partnership behind the scenes that's going to influence the way you think and act. How do you think about that?
You could offer me 100 million quid to promote something, I wouldn't do it if I didn't think it was good.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. Maybe I'm just like, I care too much about what people think about me, but I just, no amount of money's worth my reputation. And like that thing of like, Damien was great, but then he sold out. Just not worth all the money in the world to me. You know, I know that might seem crazy and people wouldn't believe it, but honestly, you could my podcast team beat me over the head all the time because we get offers from brokers who are like, oh, we'd love to sponsor you. And I'm like, no, Huel.
Yeah.
You know, let's talk about protein drink instead. And I think some people sometimes are like, why are you talking about that? And I'm like, because I'm not talking about the brokers, because, you know, for me personally, that ability to be completely untied and say what I want, it costs me a lot of money, a lot. Like the brokers will pay 5 times what everyone else will pay. But I think that long term, my brand will do better and I'll see value for that. And also, and I think people use my links more because they trust what I say and they can trust what I say. And I know everyone's going to sit here and say the same thing, but hopefully my action shows that like there's never been a broker that's paid me, there never will be, to say anything. You know, Vanguard could offer me all the money in the world and I'm turning it down.
Yeah. Let's talk about your vision for this. Like, where do you want to take it? Because when I think of you, I think of Martin Lewis.
Yeah, he did well.
Money saving expert, and like it's such an interesting space. Are you content just doing the YouTube? Do you want to like explore other stuff?
I'd like to get it to a point where I could turn off monetization on the main channel. I think that would be epic. So then people could just consume it and there's nothing there. I'm not there at the minute. The business costs a fair bit of money a month to run, editor, and I hire like a PA that my mom. My mom does all the back office accounts.
She's expensive.
Yeah. She's the only one I'll trust with the keys to the city. Do you know what I mean? And I think she knows that. You know, so I've got full-time staff, and then I'm building out other things like a newsletter and stuff. But yeah, I would like to get it to a point where I can have no sponsors, no nothing on the main channel. It's just free content, because I think that education is important for people. And then behind the scenes, I have businesses like a newsletter that hopefully can do well, and then a business-to-business offering, which would be selling education into businesses, so like to support their staff. So those are the 2 moves that I'm making to get there, and hopefully this year I can establish those. And then obviously website, and because, you know, hopefully Martin's not listening, but Money Saving Expert looks like it's run on teletext to me. I go on that website and I'm like, it's crazy that this website still looks the same as it did. It's a great resource, but it looks of the time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sold for 90 million, did it, all those years ago?
Yeah.
It looks like it's not been updated since.
Yeah. I think very interesting. What would be so with the business to business stuff, what would you be doing? You'd be like kind of giving people content to help them make better financial decisions within companies?
Yeah, so like high level stat would be the biggest cause of long-term absence in a workplace is stress or depression, and the largest cause of those things is financial related. It's not the only cause, but it's like one of the leading causes is finance related. I could provide basic information that they can host on their intranet or internal systems that their staff could view and monitor, that would hopefully capture some of those people and just stop them from making mistakes. Things like understanding your workplace pension and why that's important, budgeting, basic investing for beginners. I would partner with like financial advisors to make sure that it can be signed off and stuff. And then for me, that's a net win in terms of like my core values of the people who need the information get it for free, and the company benefits in terms of staff well-being, So for me, it's like, that's like, I know, Ollie, you had him on here, and he's always like, when you're making a decision about your business, it needs to be guided by your principles. And my principles has always been, I want as many people to have this information for free as possible. So that B2B model suits that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How much do you think you can charge for that kind of stuff?
Probably, it would be closer to 10 grand than it would be to zero.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's hard. We're trying to work out what the pricing model will be, whether it's like a per head. Like, would you charge Tesco's the same as you charge someone with 20 staff?
Yeah.
So is it a per head basis or not? The good thing about that is I would probably only need to have a couple hundred people a year, leads to make that a sizable business that then I can turn off all monetization on the main channel. Whereas at the minute, I'm reliant on thousands of people signing up through my affiliate links to generate the same, and I have no control over that. And those platforms could just be like, "Oh, see you later," and then the business has lost major revenue sources.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to pursue that angle a bit more.
How did you come up with that idea? Is that based off of DMs and emails you get, or is it something you've dreamt up?
Well, I worked in companies at quite senior levels, and I know that HR have budgets for this kind of thing. They normally have a quarterly budget for some kind of like staff wellbeing, investors in people. These kind of certifications look for you investing in staff. There's changes in the way the FCA, which are the UK regulator, view advice and guidance. So advice is like this is not financial advice. There's a problem with that messaging in the sense of, if the message is, we can't talk to you about anything to do with finance unless you speak to a financial advisor, but financial advisors will only speak to you if you've got a load of money. 90% of the UK population just fall through the cracks. Yeah. So the FCA are looking to expand this idea of guidance, which is so that people can give information without it being classed as advice. So that opens that market up to me. And then I've worked, like, one of the major revenue sources for the business is just cold approaches of people going, can you come in to talk to our staff? Because I watch your channel, I like what you do, and I think my staff could benefit.
Yeah, it's super interesting, isn't it? I think there's like a great framework is just the DMs or the emails. So it's like a lot of creators, you're creating content for people on YouTube, and it might not always be clear like what you think actually, I'm going to monetize via AdSense or affiliates or whatever it is, but actually very often it's like the emails that you get through that open up all these other avenues and doors to take, and they can like arguably be more lucrative and like highlight to you what the real product is.
Yeah, if you're getting sponsored by like a NordVPN and they're selling that service to your audience, that means like if you can think of a product that fits the audience, you're going to sell it. Like, you're going to do okay. If you're doing these kind of like Raid Shadow Legends sponsors to a finance audience, your audience are clearly engaged with your messaging. It's just about finding that product, and it's got to be in line with your values. Like I could sell a course, like a finance for beginners course, but that's against my basic, the information should be free. So this inbound traffic of people saying, can you come speak to our business? And this core value of helping as many people with free information as possible, you connect those two dots and you get, well, I'll sell into businesses then and see if that works.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I'm excited to hear how that goes. I think it could be really interesting.
Yeah, it'll be a blag because the sales processes on businesses are, they take ages.
Yeah.
But I've got a sales guy that's going to do that work, so I can just make videos. And then the newsletter itself will hopefully be a thing, and
Yeah. Big time. So if someone's watching this and they're thinking, I've got expertise, or I see an area like personal finance which is underserved, how should they think about starting? Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the episode. If you are, I ask two things of you. One, let me know in the comments what I can help you with in 2024. And two, if you would like to make amazing content and grow a podcast in 2024, everything you're watching or listening to is made by my agency, 7xcontent.com. Check us out. Now let's get back into the episode.
Yeah. First of all, you got to do your research, go watch everyone in the niche and ask yourself the question of, how can I be different to everyone else? So if don't be scared of the fact that there's lots of people doing well in the niche. That's good. There's traffic. All you've got to think is, what can I do that's slightly different? If there's a lot of traffic or audience in a niche and you position yourself different to everyone else, you will get an audience because people will resonate with it. You then go as an initial strategy, okay, because you can't make you can't make viral videos straight away. You can't make the content that's like, oh my God, you won't believe what just happened, because no one cares and no one's going to see it. You need to rank in search, which is, people forget that YouTube is the second biggest search engine on the planet. I mean, TikTok might be changing that, but people use YouTube as a search engine, try and find underserved keywords, you know, research what that is if you don't know what it is, long tail ones that you can target for search traffic. And that'll give you that initial momentum of the first 10 to 15,000 subscribers. And then you can start trying to appear on homepage and browse, which is where the big views are. This is your home screen of, you know, oh, this just happened. Like, so you've got to be strategic in that way. And first of all, you start with the search and then you shed that and then you move into the more viral content, if you would.
Yeah. How should people think about long form versus short form? What's your take there?
So I've not done any short form because I think short form, it's hard to make money out of short form. And I don't think anyone realizes it. It's hard for the creator. It's hard for the platform. And just because the video's short doesn't mean the effort is. People do, I think, you know, TikTok, you can just jump on there and do this, but you'll generate an audience of 1 million people and you'll be making pennies. You know, I think about long form is like the GOAT in terms of earning money. And if you're going to pick a platform to go at, YouTube is the most established in terms of monetization. The partner program is generous compared to other platforms. And 10,000 people on a long form audience is probably worth 100,000 on a TikTok audience. I actually think that shorts, for me personally, lots of people will disagree, they're just like a shiny thing that everyone's chasing because they get lots of attention. And they're not asking, actually, how am I monetizing this so it's a business? Who cares if you've got 10 million followers if you're earning $5,000 a year? Yeah.
It's an interesting one. I was at an event with Ali Abdal the other week, and that's what he said. It's like, from day one, can you make money?
Yeah.
Because if you're on this like scheme to build up a following to 1 million on TikTok, you might have a rude awakening when you get there. You've got 1 million followers and you realize you haven't got any money. You're not making anything. Your audience don't really have much of a relationship with you because it's really transactional on that platform, and you've just wasted 6 months or a year of your life.
Yeah.
So it's not like, obviously that's one scenario. You might do it and end up making loads of money. I don't know.
It's harder in short.
But it's hard. It's definitely harder on the short form.
And if it, as an education creator who we're speaking to today, it's your duty to make money so that you can share that information with people for free. Like, you know, people will often call out YouTubers and be like, oh my God, they make money. But you get to consume that information for free that's normally kept. In finance, you know, I might talk basic investing principles and teach people and show them how to do it for themselves. The other avenue is go speak to a financial advisor who will take 1% of whatever you invest with them every year. If you take 1% of a portfolio, a fee of 1% over 30 years, you take about a quarter of the value of the portfolio. So if you've got £1 million by the time you retire, they've taken 250 grand of that. So if 130,000 or 160,000 people, so 1 million people a month watch my channel, let's say that's 500,000. And let's say all of those have been through that journey that stops them needing to pay that fee, and they've all saved 250 grand. The value there as an education creator is hundreds and hundreds of millions. And, you know, like as an education creator, it's like, if you want to the audience benefit in such a massive way beyond. I love education content because it's not like junk food content that just sucks life out of people and they get nothing out of it. It's transformative and it helps people. So it's your duty to make money so that you can continue to make that content and continue to help people. And if you dial it in right, everybody benefits.
Yeah. Let's talk about your lifestyle. I'm interested in that because that's another misconception people often have. It's like the YouTuber rocks up on Friday afternoon and records a video in an hour and that's his week done.
Yeah.
Do you approach this like a job? Do you work 9 to 5 every day? Like, what is your schedule?
I often say I swapped a 9 to 5 for a 5 to 9, like 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. But in reality, I work 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like, I think about it constantly. The one thing I would say to someone is if you want to come into this space, be prepared to be obsessed, like completely obsessed. Because there's people like me in the arena that are obsessed. You know, like it's all I think about. And it's toxic, but it's kind of how I am. Obviously, I've got a family and I carve out time for all of that. And I have my priorities that like the gym and, you know, my family. But I work too much. I work a lot. And I see a lot of creators where their MO is, how can I optimize and only work 10 hours a week? And I envy that in one perspective. But then on the other hand, it's like, you couldn't make my videos in 10 hours. You just couldn't. The research takes that long. You know, I spend 5 hours picking songs sometimes. And I know that's too much, but it comes back to that thing of, you know, if you want to be a creator, you've got to create, you know, and there's an element of that takes a lot of time and effort. And the more creative you are, the more time it takes. So when you watch like a Dodford, you know, I don't know if you know Dodford,
Yeah.
You watch his videos and they feel very fresh and unique. He's putting a shift in for that. All the clips alone will take him, I mean, he's got people doing it, but the total man hours into each video will be hundreds of hours. Whereas like top 5 things you can do right now, you can film that in a day, but you've got to identify what type of creator you want to be. But yeah, I'm spending Monday to Friday, it's like, you know, 10 to 12 hours a day. Saturday, Sunday, probably, you know, 6 hours on each day, maybe more. And then thinking time, you know, it's just always in my head. I'll go for a drive so that I can think of like ways to finish off a script on things like that. It's pretty intense, mate.
It's mad. It's so funny.
Yeah, I'm like, I just don't leave my studio. Yeah. I'm just in there the whole time alone.
I love it. What drives you then? Because like, on the one hand, you're getting these amazing messages from people who are saying like, you know, oh, I was unemployed, never had any savings. I've now, you know, taken care of my financial future, all thanks to you and the information you've given me. But then there's also this like burning creative desire in you as well. Like what's getting you fired up?
I've always been a grafter, like I said. I used to earn 100 grand a year working in finance and deliver Chinese takeaways Friday and Saturday night. Like, it's pretty rare, I guess. Like, my mates would be like, what the hell are you doing? And then I would live off the Chinese money and save my job money, you know? And I'd like lived in a house share where I rented out a house and then rented out the other 3 rooms. So I was getting paid to live in it. So, you know, I've always been, I don't know why I'm like that, but it's just the way I am. But what motivates me is this ability to do social good and just to kind of see how far I can take this thing. You know, you kind of got my hands on the wheel and it's like, how far can I push this? How far can I go? Can I get knighted? So, I mean, like, I don't mean to be arrogant, I'm joking, but you know, where can you go with this? Can I take this to a place where at the end it's like, I've Jamie Olivered, like finance education into schools. Yeah. Can I do that? Because people are always like, why aren't we taught about it in school? Okay, so why aren't we? Yeah. And can I change that? And we all need a driving mission. We all need something to work to. Otherwise, what's the point in life? And maybe that's mine. And I just take it seriously. And I just kind of want to come out the other side and be like, I gave it my best shot. Yeah.
Well, Martin Lewis got voted the public's most popular,
trustworthy guy.
Yeah, and #1 choice for the next prime minister, didn't?
Rightfully so, though. The guy. I mean, the guy made a lot of money, but the guy could have made a lot more money. And he's made like he got 90 million years ago, and he's still there being a consumer champion and fighting the fight. The one thing that bothers me about Martin overall in his message is he just won't touch investing. So the message is always like how to save money on your energy bills and how to, you know, that kind of thing will take people so far. But if when he started, he said, buy a low cost index fund inside of an ISA and do that every single month, everyone that listened to him would be in a much better place today. So I wish that he used that to talk more about investing, but I think he's just scared of the compliance.
Who in this space do you really like? Creators you follow?
So I mentioned Dodford. I think as time goes on, I realize, so there's two types of creator. There's creators, I would call like Ali Abdul a creator. It's like systems optimization, he's a businessman. And then there's creatives who, like James Janney, takes a year to make a video. Like the guy's a creative. And I tend to lean more towards the creatives than I do the creators, because there's this desire in me to be like, can I make finance content into like art? You know, could I do it so that it's like entertainment?
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I would say I'm 20% where I would want to be in terms of that. And I'm held back by my own skills. Like I'd never edited a video before until I started on the channel. So I watch a lot of people who are really good editors and storytellers and things like that. Obviously people like Alex Hormozy and stuff, you know, they get you fired up, get me benching and ready to beat down walls, put a little tank top on and try to grow a mustache. But, you know, someone like Dodford at the minute was probably the creator that's come onto the scene recently where I'm like, oh, that's fresh, that's nice. His like, if people haven't watched him, he does whole videos where he doesn't even do voiceover and he tells a story through clips and like life stories of people. And the content's quite emotive and emotional and really well done, you know. And he puts those constraints on himself of, can I make a video where I don't say anything? And within creativity, like, constraints are really good for creativity, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing what constraints can do, isn't it? There's have you seen Jack Butcher's stuff?
No.
So he's more of a like visual artist,
right?
Graphic designer, but again, it's like I'm only allowed to use black and white. I'm only allowed to use like a certain number of shapes and then like convey messages within that, within those constraints. Yeah. And it just creates amazing stuff because there's so few things he can use. He's got to be so imaginative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, it hems you in, doesn't it? In the same way of like, if someone's starting, just use your iPhone. I got to 50,000 subscribers on an iPhone. You don't need all the gear. It gets nice to have eventually. But, you know, I often think about shorts. I don't think people are using the short format in the best way. I think there's got to be a level to that. You know, when you see VR and like people do, I saw a VR thing the other day that was a short, funny enough, where it was like a Hoover game. So you put the VR on and then it covers your floor in coins and you vacuum up the coins and you get points as you go. And it turns vacuuming into like a fun game. Yeah. It's like, that's a way to use VR to improve your day-to-day life. I feel like short format, no one's doing something that's groundbreaking there. I feel like there could be something that, like, could you have it over multiple shorts or, I don't know. Yeah. So I like people that push the content in that way, push what's possible.
Conversely, what are the gimmicks and the things people should just like park to the side? Like it's not worth it.
Stop asking people to like and subscribe. Just stop. Because it's so overdone that people switch off. And as soon as people zone out, they're gone. And especially don't ask to like and subscribe before you're giving them any value. Sometimes I click on a video and someone's giving me this whole spiel of like, oh, check out this and check out that and like and subscribe. And I'm just like, what are you doing? You know, give some value the audience. Don't ask to like and subscribe. Don't hold back and try and edit for retention. Just make videos that are valuable and honest and relatable. And I think people will resonate with that.
Yeah. What winds you up? Is there any creators that wind you up in this space?
Oh, is it controversial to say Mr. Beast?
No.
I always hear him saying, I want to make the best videos. And is he making the best videos? Is he making the most expensive videos? And I respect his hustle and his scale, but I watch it. I guess it's for a different audience. It's not for me. It's for maybe a younger audience. But it feels like the McDonald's version of content in terms of you watch it and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah,
you know,
it was trash.
Come out the other side. It's like junk food. It's, you know, I don't know if he's making the best videos. I don't know. And he was the first to do it, but that Mr. Beastification of YouTube has really sucked a bit of life out of the platform. Spectacle-based content. I think we'll see a shift the other way. And I also hate all the grifters in my niche. There's so many of them just like peddling crap and telling people to buy individual stocks and taking backhanders to talk about things. There's so much of it.
Yeah, it's shit, isn't it?
It's surprising though, but I think the thing about YouTube is people who, you've got to take that first step and you've got to put yourself online and you might find success. And I think certain types of people are a bit more like, sociopaths are more likely to do that, where they're like, oh, fuck it, like I'll just go on and I'll rip everyone off. What surprises me is that they're like cockroaches. They have this ability to survive because they'll burn one audience and a new audience comes along and doesn't know. Yeah, I was surprised at how the lack of credibility within the space. There's lots of good creators, don't get me wrong, but there's just as many crap ones, that are really just trying to extract money out of people in nefarious ways.
Yeah, I think that's what's exciting, is the opportunity just for people who are actually like, if you can come from a place of authenticity and like genuinely sharing useful information objectively, then like you'll clean up.
Yeah, and people are craving it now. So if you combine those two things of the Mr. Beastification, which makes all the content feel like fake and weird, and then this lack of credibility, if you're authentic and, like a Ludwig kind of, he's an entertainer, but he's just sat in his room talking away, but he's just a likable guy and he gets a massive audience. If you apply that to education, you just come in and you're like, this is what I am, this is what I do, and this is what I've got to show you, and here's a random joke just to freshen it up maybe. You'll do well. You'll do well.
Amazing. That's so useful. Let's do the quick fire questions. I'm going to give you this whiteboard and you've basically got 15 seconds to write down an answer and then
I told you it takes me 100 hours to make a video. Right?
And then we'll talk about it.
Let me get the lid off. Okay, I'm ready.
Cool. All right. Top 3 books.
And okay, is that 15 seconds? You're not going to be able to read my writing. I'll run you through it. Top one's Who Moved My Cheese. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So it's like a really simple story, but it's about opportunity and not being scared to go when the thing that you're doing at the minute is good, but there's something better potentially. It's like just a story about a load of rats and like just making that leap in life. The next one is The Art of Writing Well, I believe it's called. It's a book around script writing and writing and brevity and clarity in writing. So I think it boils like how to write nice sentences down. I know that sounds really geeky, but that's like what I do. I script write all day long. And then as like a bit of the only book I've ever read in a day is I Am Legend. They did the movie with Will Smith.
Yeah.
The book's so much better.
Is it?
Yeah, the story's completely different. In the book, he obsesses over the dog. Like, he's alone in the world and he sees the dog and he obsesses over it for like 3 chapters. He finally catches the dog and then the next page is the next day the dog died. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And it's all about how what he thinks of the world is actually not true. And I won't spoil the ending, but yeah. I thought that was a great book.
With Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah.
Has that been you at some point?
Yeah. So I've struggled to make that leap of like, I'm in a comfortable position and I'm sat here with all my cheese and there's maybe some other cheese down the maze somewhere.
What was the situation?
Quitting my job, making the leap to go full-time content creator. So yeah, it's so simple, the book. It's like, you could almost sum it up as it's about taking that leap and making that move. But if you're struggling in life and I think it's really easy when you're in a crap position to make the leap. It's super hard when you're in a comfortable one and you've worked for 10 years and you go, if I walk out of this career, it's all that 10 years is almost, it feels like it's for nothing. It's not. You've gained the skills through the career that put you in the opportunity. But yeah, having that bravery, that book helped me make that leap.
Is it the best thing you ever did?
It's from a business perspective, yeah, financially, yeah. And in terms of personal development and, all of that stuff, it's like leveled me up. It's put me in circles. We had dinner last night with a load of cool people. Yeah. There's, it detach you before. It's like your job and your life, whereas now it's like my job, my career and my business like develops me in ways that like my job never did. And yeah, it's hard. It's a lot harder than, you know, I would think. It's not the dream. You know, like I say, I work a lot of hours. There's a lot of mental juggling and joust with myself, but it's, yeah, I would do it again.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I definitely, it's such an interesting book. I'm going to read that.
Yeah.
The idea, because I think that's I've had exactly that, where it's like, you've got the great job.
Yeah.
You get to travel, you get paid good money. It's pretty easy. You're probably actually only working a couple of days a week, and the rest of the time you're just messing around.
Yeah.
Going for coffees and lunches and stuff like that. And yeah, but then to take the jump, it's big. Whereas if you've lost your job and you've got no other choice, there's only one path.
Yeah, but you might have like a really big client, and then you might be like, actually, they're sucking so much out of us that if we let this client go, we might be like, you know, that we all face those decisions in our business.
Yeah, they recur. Yeah, it comes up time and time again.
And even though it's a really simple story, it just frames it nicely.
I'll read that. What are you optimizing for?
Okay. Me.
Okay.
My ability to make videos. So, you know, do the inputs that drive the outputs. It's very tempting for me to be like, okay, now I need to write a newsletter, and now I need to, you know, do public speaking and all of this. Everything I do is optimizing for me to be able to sit in my desk and make more videos, because everything I have has come from that. So now I instead of what I've realized is making a YouTube channel is hard. It's a skill. So any other creative endeavor, like a newsletter, is just as hard. It takes just as much skill. It's naive of me to think I can just spin that off and smash it, you know? So what I do now is I find people that have done that successfully, and I say, I'll partner with you, and I'll, like, you know, we'll build a really quality product, and then I can divert my audience to it.
Yeah.
Like audience venture capital, if you would. So I'm not putting money into it, I'm putting attention.
Yeah.
And I'm not obsessed with owning the whole thing. I just want to I want it to be really good so that the audience benefit, and I want to just focus on making videos, because that's the input that drives the output.
And that's your flywheel. It's like, if you make videos, the flywheel turns. People join the newsletter, people join go to the podcast. They do all these other things that people have set up, and they're running perfectly for you, expertly. But you can just focus video. So I partner with a podcast production company. I partner with someone on the newsletter. I partner with someone on the business to business venture. And I don't mind giving up those chunks to bring in expertise that allows me to just, and as long as they understand, all I'm going to do is sit in my office and make videos, because that's the best thing that I can do for all these businesses. Yeah. Amazing.
So, give me a sec. I need to get this off before you hit me with another. Some serious pressure, this.
Advice to your younger self.
Oh. Chill.
Okay.
It's going to take you a long time, Damien, before you have anything that's valuable for the world. Just relax, mate, and live a little. You know, so there's some statistics around successful founders. I think the majority of people assume that founders are like 21-year-old Mark Zuckerbergs. Actually, if you start a business when you're 33, it's 3 times more likely to be successful than someone at 22. And the average tech founder is 40. The average founder in like the oil and gas and that kind of industry is 47. You can't skip experience. And actually the mess that was my 20s gave me the social and financial like skills that I needed to launch a channel at 30 that was an instant success. An overnight success, 10 years in the making. You know, that's what they say. So I would go back to Damien, who was desperate and wanted to be something and change the world, and be like, you need to learn some stuff first, mate. You need some life experience. You know, you're not an autistic savant that can code and will invent a social network, you know, so chill.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's fucking good. Kindest thing someone's ever done for you?
Oh, okay. I don't know how to, I'm just going to draw a little image. This is terrible. Okay. So this is someone shouting at me with a dunce hat on. There's loads of examples of people being kind as in the traditional sense, but I think honesty is a kindness. And there was this time when I was at university and I was arrogant and I was cocky and I was naive. And I got into a mess financially where I nearly ended up needing to drop out of university because I had no money left. On the first day, I worked all summer and saved up a load of money at a bar job. And then the first day I got there, I bought everyone in the bar a drink and spent the whole lot. That just was right. It set me up. I was Freshers Week director the next year because everyone was like, "Oh, he's a legend." So actually, it set me up socially. But I had no money for rent. All of this, and I literally went round. I'm so ashamed to say this, but I'll just be honest. I went round and I basically begged for money off people, like pounds, to pay my rent. And I went to my uncle's house down south and went to one of his friends' house, and I was like talking about it like I was proud of the fact. And he was like, "You had to beg for money. You should be ashamed. Like, it's not a good thing." And I remember like that ego check then just set me on the right course. And his honesty in that moment was like a kindness, you know, that kind of like made me reframe like my view of myself. I was a cocky shit. I was just a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Like well too full of myself. And if he hadn't have done that at that time, that probably would have continued for a little while. And he just, at 18 years old, gave me the slap that I needed. And I see that as a true kindness.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's an amazing story.
Yeah, yeah. It's the first time I've ever talked about that because it's so shameful. Set up a Facebook page and like,
oh my word,
asking for money.
That is shocking.
I raised it, but yeah, not proud of it now. He was like, "That's nothing to be proud of." And I was like, "Yeah, he's completely right.
Yeah.
What an idiot." I was like, I bought you all a drink and have the money back, basically.
It's funny, isn't it, how rare people actually being honest with you are. Like
Exactly. Like I'm
even like your family. Like
yeah, people like people.
They don't say what they really think.
Yeah, no, you look great. Like it's that kind of. Whereas honesty is like kindness. Like me being honest in terms of that story is like really hard for me because I know people are just going to be like, "What a melt." But I learned from it, and it was. I'm 35 now. I was 18 then. I was a child, But yeah, I always think back to that moment as pivotal.
Best thing you've done with your money?
Oh, okay. Well, this can only be one thing, really. So that guy, I earn good money from my YouTube channel, and my business earns me more money now, and all of those things. But the investing in a low cost index fund inside of a tax efficient account like a pension and an ISA for 10 years, even when I was only putting 10 quid in, gave me the confidence and ability and platform to make that leap. And whilst investing won't make you rich, it will give you confidence in your ability to jump when the right thing comes along. So if you're unsure and you're sat at home thinking, "I don't know what I want to do," just do that. And then when the opportunity comes along, you'll be in a good place. You've got to be able to pounce.
Great advice, and I'd expect nothing less from a personal finance YouTuber.
Yeah, that's it. Always on brand. I'm enjoying this. Have you got any more?
Conversely, the worst thing you did with your money.
Oh, God. Okay. Did I spell that right? I bought a brand new Mercedes when I got dumped. I'm still driving it today. I'm going to drive that thing into the floor. I'm going to drive that. I'm going to put 300,000 miles on that thing, honestly.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but brand spanking new, because of my own fragile little ego, because I got dumped.
Or was that the next day you walked into the showroom?
Next day I bought it. Yeah, in my mid to early 20s.
Did you used to drive it past their house?
No, yeah.
Look at me now.
Yeah. Look at me now. I made it in my little A-class. Yeah, God, what an idiot. But cars, brand new cars are such terrible investments, right? Within the first 5 years, you're losing 60% of the value. And I should have just bought a second-hand car. But yeah, I did that. And yeah, that wasn't a smart financial decision. Not at all.
No. Stupid.
Yeah. I mean, that one of the reasons I worked for the Chinese was like, well, I'm going to make this thing earn me some bloody money then. After I realized it was a terrible purchase that I can't now get out of because I'm on some horrendous PCP arrangement.
Well, lastly, where can people find you?
Well, if the content's good enough, it'll find them. It's kind of like how I think about it. But if you want to find me, Damien Talks Money on YouTube. And if you like podcasts, I co-host a podcast called Making Money, which is chats with finance people.
Amazing. Yeah. Absolutely love this, Damien. It's so good.
No worries.
Something that's going to help a lot of people.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right, man.
Cheers.
Cheers.